What's up, RC Hobbyists? Thank you for tuning into this episode. I'm pretty excited about this one. We are comparing and showing how big of a difference or how small of a difference a completely different wheel tire insert combination can have on a truck. Let's take a look at the truck we're running and the tires we're comparing. Okay, so you can see it here. We are going to be testing this on the Poizd T3. This is arguably one of my most capable trucks, and right now my only four-wheel steer rig. And these are the tires and the wheels. You can see we got Krawlers, BFG Krawlers. One is an extremely well scrubbed in tire. Some may argue maybe it's past its life. I don't know. Drop me a comment. What do you think? Does this have a lot left in it, or is it time to get a new set? And then we've got a brand new pair. I mean, it's got several batteries through it, but you can see that leading edge is just starting to wear off. And you'll notice this is the West Desert Wheeler cut and shut, 5.25 tall. Whereas this is your standard 4.75. Okay, now let's take a look at the wheels themselves. Both wheels are from Amazon. This is more of your comp style wheel. This is a carbon fiber 2.2. This is just super cheap, 1.9. Both are an official beadlock. Inside of these, we have just a stock single stage foam. In this, we've got SL3D squid inserts. My favorite insert. You can see they've got a lot of stability on the sidewall, you know, when you're side hilling, but plenty of squish here. They got no side hill support. They're not vented. So that's what we're working with. The only other factor to take into consideration is how they are weighted. Oh, this was one of them. So inside of this wheel, which will be the front wheels, I've got them surrounded with the like full-size car wheel balancing weights. For reference, okay, so it's these guys. So on these wheels, I've got them fully lined, you know, end to end, wrapping the whole thing. On these wheels, I've just got, you can see I've got spaces in between them, but I also have these wrapped. Oh, another thing, this wheel is a negative offset, so it's actually gonna narrow the truck up, where these are going to utilize the full width of the Capra axles. Okay, so nothing else is going to change. We'll be running all other things the same. It's just going to be a completely different tire setup. So before we hit this run footage, drop me a comment which tire is going to perform better. We've got a lot of factors playing in here. You've got this wheel's a lot taller, so you're going to have better clearance, but it's going to hurt you on your side hills. But you got the squid inserts, which are going to protect the side hill, whereas these are going to roll over on themselves. So leave me a comment before you watch the video, which tire is going to perform better. All right, I'm going to do a voiceover because it was terribly windy today. But this first line is just a climb. And look at that thing go. I could not believe how easily it did that. Okay, let's see how it does with the other tires. Other tires and wheels, to be fair. Okay, so you can see we're kind of struggling here just to get started. Just not getting the traction. But with a little bit of a bump, it could get up. Just a little bit was all it needed, and now we're fighting for traction again. You can see we get it, we pull it, get stuck on this little bump right here, but all in all, not too shabby at all. This is a small climb, but it's very sandy. And these tires, again, just stuck it like crazy. That honestly really surprised me. I struggle a lot with that, but I think I just found a good line. And then this little bit, that's not much to it. That side hill, not a big deal. Jumping over to the newer setup, it also pulled that line really well, so I think that's just a good line. Both tires had no problems getting through it. Okay, another uphill obstacle. Just a good example of the traction that the different setups have. So this thing is like a frickin' mountain goat. It just chews it up. Right here, it starts to struggle with those loose rocks, but all in all, just killed it. Right here, we're doing good so far. I do think the colder weather actually helps these trucks to grip better. I don't know. That seems like it should be wrong, but I feel like it's the truth. So right there, that little bit, I think I just hit a bad line. Like if you were to watch them, go back and forth and watch, I think we just hit a bad line on that first one. But right here, I do think with the wider axles, I had a better ability to reach that ledge and get the pull that I needed. So that almost seems like an axle setup, or like the wider base that helped more than anything. This is a tricky climb. You could spend 30 minutes some days just trying to get this climb right here. It's a lot to do with your side hill ability, as well as your forward weight bias and your tire traction. And this thing it just freaking one-shotted it. This truck the entire setup is just crazy. Okay, so now we're rolling in with the cut and shuts. Now, there's so much at hand. I explained it in the beginning. Maybe some of you skipped over it, but you've got the wheelbase, and I guess it's more of the track width that's playing a factor. You've got the tire inserts playing a factor. The height of the tire, so that's affecting your center of gravity. You've got both tires are the crawlers, right? But one are super broken in crawlers, the other are fairly new. I want to say the 1.9s are, that was a nasty tumble. That kind of hurt, but everything was good. But anyways, you can see, I think the 1.9s are a Predator compound and these ones are G8 compound. But for those of you who follow the channel, man, I've been running these tires for a while and I have not gotten them broken in yet. So I'm interested how these will do when they're really well broken in. I think with a lightweight rig like this, it just makes more sense to have the Predators. But you can see we are struggling here, trying to find the line and just fighting for traction. And that other rig just pulled it. First try, one attempt, no struggle. There we go. I did have to tap into a little rear steer right here. You can see this is the first time with all the lines that I have utilized rear steer. But I needed it. I needed it to help me even to just get up on that ledge. But this is tough, right? Because your bottom tires are climbing a ledge at the same time your top tires are climbing the ledge. But you can see we finally get it there. And the breakovers right here are pretty heavy, but neither setup struggled with that. All right, this is a fun obstacle that really shows your side hill and kind of, I mean, really just that. It's how well can your rig side hill. So I'm going to use the rear steer on this. With these wheels, my truck is a lot wider, which is good in the sense of it stabilizes the truck when it gets sideways, but it's bad on this situation because it's forcing my wheels to be higher up on the wall, which puts me more sideways. So just trying to take it nice and slow, but pay attention because we are comparing these. So pay attention to both my line choice so that we can take that into consideration. You know, I can't hit the same line every time, but take a look at that. Take a look at how planted the truck is. Right now, it's staying really smooth. I'm not too nervous about what's going on. We're staying pretty planted right now. Okay. Oh, I just switched positions. I was like, man, what just happened? Okay, so just take note. Right now I'm diffed out hard on the back. So my rear axle is diffed out. Using four-wheel steer to get out of that. Okay, now we're getting sideways. And this is where, like, look at where the weight is. All the weight. We're super light. So all that weight is on those bottom tires. Look at that front tire. See how it's all rolled up like that? My sidewalls are non-existent right now. We're riding rim. Okay, there we go. There, I'm zooming in, but riding rim right now. Just moving real slow. A little nervous to tip. But we got it. Not too bad. Okay, so remember with this setup, we're sitting higher, which hurts the center of gravity. Our axles are more narrow because we've got, I believe it's a positive offset. I said that wrong earlier. So as we're making our way across here, you can see using the rear steer in the same fashion to try and hug that sidewall. Dropping down into the tire the same way. Like, so far everything is going pretty similar. Like, no real differences here. Sorry, the filming got a little squirrely as I was trying to use rear steer. It gets complicated to do rear steer with the dial and steer and film all at the same time. But right there you could see, like, there was no issue with the sidewall. That was the big difference on that climb. Now this climb is a vertical. This is some smooth rock. It's hard to gain traction. You got to find the right line here. And you can see, boom, find the right line. This is another one of those, like this trail, this is Cliff's Edge. And it has several climbs, including this one, where you could spend 20 minutes just trying to get up the one obstacle. And we just pulled it first try without really any issues. Now jumping on it with the taller tire setup, can we just use it that way? It chewed up that line too. I was really surprised. I thought we were going to struggle, but I just found the right line and it pulled right up. So not a big difference there. You are starting to see some differences here though. We're having to be a little bit more choosy. And you know, that's one of the big things that I noticed. Because both setups have achieved every obstacle, right? Like, there's been no differences in terms of like, oh, that one failed and this one made it. But what it is these wheel tire insert combo makes everything so easy. Like, it just climbs. It just climbs. You don't have to think so much about exactly where you're putting your tire, what your wheel speed is. None of that. It just does it. This part right here is probably the most I had to fight an obstacle with this truck. And it's because this is like some flaky sandstone right there. It's super flaky, but the tires were hooking up on the rear. We just needed them to pull on the front. Right there, it's pulling all of these lines really, really simply. So jumping back to our taller tires now, we kind of hit like 3 different obstacles in a row there. Jumping in, trying to turn uphill. You can see the struggle. Tires are spinning. You know, we've now slid all the way to the other side, and it's not hooking up. I thought this was very interesting. Like, what a difference. What a difference this has made. Okay, but we finally kind of get on the right line. Maybe some of that was my line choice wasn't as good. So now we're on the right line. We're pulling up here. No real issues. Now this is the spot where the last rig struggled. Let's see how we do with the 2.2 cut and shuds. G8 compound. Kind of just a struggle. Part of me thinks those foams are such a good thing because the weight of this truck, like, it doesn't compress the tire the same way. You know what I mean? So it's almost like I need an even lighter squid insert. Like, I don't know. So right now, that's 2 rollovers in the attempts to get up this. Pretty interesting. But there we got it. Not too bad. So just had to find the right line. I think that, though, like, oh, my words and stuff. That last obstacle, that hill climb, I think has a lot to do with the center of gravity, too. I feel like the other rig was just a lot more planted. Okay, this is a fun one. So notice how as I pulled that climb, the passenger tire stayed low. It's hanging low that whole time, keeping the truck from wanting to roll over. Oh, right here, I stepped backwards, foot rolled out of my shoe. That was kind of risky. Okay, so pretty easy. But like I said, I want you to pay attention to how my tire responded. And I don't know if this is the weight of the tires, because the 1.9s are heavier. But look at this. Look at that. My tire it's not sagging down. So it's wanting to lift my truck and tip and roll it over backwards. This could be a combination of things. Could be the wheelbase is acting different. So I'm trying to replicate that same concept because I was successful with that on the other rig. So you can see right here, I'm trying it. That's too much of a pinch. So let's scoot over a little bit, kind of a different line. I'm like, well, that's not gonna work. Take a roll. All right, let's start over. Again, I'm just trying to replicate what we did that first time. So right now I've got it. It's hanging lower. Like I said, they both get the climbs. All in all, they get it. But one setup is getting these climbs way easier. Now, these are some fun obstacles. For those of you who have made it to the end, first of all, you're awesome. But here's the treat. Like, these are some cool obstacles that are these are some Poizd lines. Just a sheer vertical wall, and it can get the pull on it. But let me know, what have you guys thought about this video? What are your thoughts on these setups? What would you attribute the success of these 1.9s over the 2.2s? Is it just because these are broken in? Like, if I had the exact same test and I ran it back, in a year when my G8s are more broken in, like, would it would it perform the same way? I don't know. What do you guys think? Because we got single stage foams. That should be a huge disadvantage. Whew. Excuse me. That should be a huge disadvantage. But they seem to have been getting the job done. You know, especially on the side hills, those obstacles, I will say the 2.2s pulled that way easier. That was super, super easy. And I think the taller tires are what made the difference on that one. About the same amount of struggle right there, but that other climb, the 2.2 really helped get that extra reach, I think. I did also have the benefit of running this truck second with the setup. So I kind of knew, I had a good idea of what lines to run, especially on this obstacle, because this obstacle is a struggle. But you guys, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, leave me a comment. You know, drop me like I'm the realist or something. I appreciate whoever made it this far. Stick around for more content.